like this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or like the CML or something like that.
well, it was really great to hear the other towns' challenges and,
Makes you feel better.
you know.
No, I'm good.
That's why I said
Yeah,
I got a name tag right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And it's really, it's a lot of fun because you go that side and then the next time, I know this meeting's going to take here and it goes and get these who else on the
Probably all the ones that were there last night.
yeah, probably all them. Yeah, we did get most of them, but we get those too. And
So you're gonna have to give me the scoop on how to pick the different courses being offered during June.
oh, we just go and split them up. We usually decide the day of.
Oh, good.
Hi.
Oops.
Nope.
Here you go. Oh,
You guys already went to this, right?
Oh, yeah.
On the Cortez.
Went to Cortez last night. And Thursday? Going to make us Thursday. No, it was Thursday last week. No, it was Wednesday.
That's
Yeah. We'll hit on it. We'll just
the only
keep
thing
guessing
that we
days.
did differently is we also had it. We didn't mix. Yeah. Usually we mix. And everybody was treated different. Like usually we have.
I left this in my truck.
No. And everybody.
I was on it yesterday morning.
It was like everybody set
My office charged. I took my truck last night. I went to get on it this afternoon during lunch to just kind of go over this one more time, make sure nothing else going on. Yeah.
I did. Daniel, last night,
A matter of like,
I thought I had it full charge one time and I didn't bring it out when I came here and the meeting went till like,
I wonder if it's because
it wasn't very late and it was
there's
dead.
that, and then
Holy
also,
shit, that battery was
that's
that's why I
my
always
But it's underneath the dash.
yeah, I have the cord, but the truck says able to plug it in, but
You just got to know how to do it.
from
They don't
Denver.
last
Yes.
long at all.
They didn't drive that day.
oh, they didn't? I thought
I
they did.
thought
I asked her. She said yeah. She said we
No, he had to lance it open to drain everything.
Wow.
What? No, the bacterial
I
mosquito
have
evolutionary
When is it
drug.
coming?
Because I lived over
Another
on
one.
Camaro 203.
got him.
Sure enough, when
Good.
here comes
Keep
the
them on your side or I'm going to mute you.
around.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where they're coming from.
Down there.
I don't know where they're coming from, Tom. I killed about 60 in the back seat of the truck.
Oh,
Ants.
we did have a 3-1 odd.
I picked up something outside of the house, went to go to my truck real fast, covered with ants. Right before I came here.
So anybody hear from him?
Killed like 60 of them in the back of my truck.
We were just asking, who said you weren't coming back? Or
And I've shaken.
Katie. Katie.
Hi. I'm looking through my romper room. Get over it. Get over it.
It's
That's
all
how I
right.
am right now.
Sorry. Have you heard from Matt?
where's the actor?
All right, I'll just start.
We're doing old school. We're just gonna go.
I'd like to call this meeting to order on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024 at 6:31. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg, Trustee Hartz,
Here.
Trustee Katsos,
here.
Trustee Snooks,
Here.
Trustee Moreland, Trustee McLaurin,
Here.
and Mayor Ah.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. Does the board have any conflicts of interest? Okay. General public input that's not on any agenda items? If Does anyone have any public input? Okay, we'll close that out. We'll do the public input on agenda items as they come up. Approval of the agenda. Has the board everyone looked at the agenda for this evening?
Yep.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as posted.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katsos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Special event liquor license for the public hearing. Bayfield Chamber of Commerce.
So you want to close or pause the regular meeting and open the public hearings?
Okay, I want to pause the regular meeting and open up the public hearing for the Bayfield Chamber of Commerce block party liquor license.
Yes. So the applicant is present. If you would like them to present anything, it's also in your packet.
Does the applicant wish to speak?
Do you have any questions?
Any questions by the board?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special events liquor license.
So there's no decisions made in a public hearing.
Oh,
It's for the public input. And then, yeah.
We'll get it.
It's all right.
we'll get it.
We'll get it eventually.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Rotary Beer and Wine liquor license for July 4th. Is that applicant here?
The applicant is here.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
So, and we have, there was not a staff note in the packet, and I'm not too sure if there's any issues last year with access to the tent or the beer garden area, and Carol is the applicant for the Rotary.
And I'm here as the president of the Rotary Club until June 30th.
Can you state your name, please, for the record?
Carol McWilliams, 4334 County Road 509, Bayfield. And I was wanting some clarification. In the past, this hearing has been whether we could use the town property for the beer garden. And then the actual special event license was approved administratively, so I wanted to find out if that.
So our municipal code was changed, I believe, about 3 years ago. So it's the municipal code does not, the administrative approval has changed in the last 3 years.
So this is the whole deal then?
Well,
So the permission from the town, I can speak to that a little bit better. The permission of the town is given as part of the packet that's submitted to the state. The state will not approve it unless they have a letter from us, from the town. No, the public hearing is just part of the process for the board to grant me signatory authority to sign the application and send it to the state.
And I just wanted a copy of the insurance form, and I have the one that is applicable this year through June 30th.
so we talked, Carol, that we understand that your year ends in June 30th and that you'll get a new insurance certificate, and that we certainly understand it's conditional that we get that insurance certificate as soon as possible before July 4th.
Right, yes. Anything else?
No questions.
Any questions?
Nope.
Is there any public comment? Okay, I'd like to close the public hearings and go back to the regular meeting. Next up is the special event liquor license action agenda with the Bayfield Chamber of Commerce block parties for June 13th, July 11th, and August 8th.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the special event liquor license for the Chamber of Commerce block parties taking place on Mill Street on June 13th, July 11th, and August 8th of 2024.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes?
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next up is the action agenda for the Rotary Beer and Wine Garden on July 4th.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the special event liquor license for the Pine River Centennial Rotary Club at Joe Stevenson's Park on July 4th, 2024.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes?
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next up is the mosquito control overview for the summer of 2024.
Yeah, so Rhiannon Tanner is here, and she has been our representative for vector disease control that does a mosquito control on our streets at certain times through the summer. Rhiannon's been very good to talk with if you want to contact her directly. She's been really good about that, and she's also in the past has provided us little pamphlets to give people to know what to do with their backyards. I think a lot of times people assume that we're doing mosquito control in their yards, but I just want to make sure that Rhiannon has a chance to tell you exactly what they do and a little bit about their trapping program for her company.
Good evening. So, as she said, I can go and check stuff on your property if you'd like in your backyard. But usually it's not something huge. More, I'd rather check something that's like flooded pastures, ponds, stuff like that to treat it. Because we'd rather treat the water to kill the larvae so we don't have to spray. Because mosquitoes, the adult mosquitoes they can sometimes become resistant to certain sprays that we have. So it's a lot easier for me to go to the water and treat it and kill it there instead of having to constantly spray, which I can't get all of them, unfortunately. But we do need them because they do pollinate as well, even though they're a nuisance. But we were talking, I don't know, at a block party or something where I could have a booth or something so I could have more information, have some of my stuff I have, and kind of like help educate the residents. Because if you don't understand something, it can be scary. Think about pesticides, bullets really bad. We use everything that's environmentally friendly, and it's just, I want to help them understand it better so they're not so afraid when I do spray. So, and also, I would like if people, any residents could call me if they haven't seen me somewhere and they see there's water, please contact me. Maybe I have missed it, and I don't know it's there. I had a resident actually show me another site that was producing. And I love that, because I wish I could walk around and catch all the water, but unfortunately I can't. So, I have no problem having emails, text messages, phone calls. If I don't answer right away, I will get back to you as soon as I can. I'm just gonna answer any questions.
Do you, do you notify blocks of neighborhoods if you do have to spray before you spray?
I actually give KD 24, sometimes 48 hours notice. And we do spray, I do a monthly spraying once a month for the whole town. And we set those days up in advance, like we figure out like when there's block parties or other special events, I try to either do it before or after, so I'm not disturbing, anyone's outside time. And I try to do it like starting at 9 o'clock, so there's not usually too many people like out walking or
Is that 9 a.m. or 9 p.m.? Got it. Okay.
So, Tom, I do see a handout in the back that maybe somebody else has a question.
I was gonna say, what is your phone number, please?
You have a pen ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, it's 970-560-6637.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I will be getting some more cards, so that way when you set the booth, I can just use them.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll bring you some too as well.
And Rhiannon, as far as doing any private property, you would still have to have permission to enter the property. So that's really important to understand that we don't, there's no assumption that she can enter
Yeah,
private
correct.
property.
I mean, if you have a neighbor and you see they have water, you know, it's easier if you would like to explain to them or give them my number and have them call me, so I can talk to them or go meet with them. Because like I said, I wish I could contact everybody, but I can't, so I have 3 districts altogether, so maybe it's just me doing it.
Keeps you busy.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
If you can find time to make it to the block party, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I wanna, even if I can do a couple of them, it's, you know, as long as I know the times and everything, I can be there.
Where do you get the pamphlets now?
From her company.
Do we have any here at the town hall or
I think
anything
we have a
for the
couple,
public? Okay.
but I think that, yeah.
In my stuff, and I might have a few more, if not, I will definitely get some more and make them available.
Here?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm just curious, what is your turnaround time if you do get a call from a citizen? How quickly are you able to get back out?
I usually try to do it within 24 hours, depending on how many complaints I have or how many routes I have, because I come from Cortez. So I would rather have more than just one complaint or one small area. But I have come over before just for that, just because they were having an issue.
Okay,
So I try my best to do 24 hours, at least latest 48.
okay.
So, Rhiannon, can you explain a little bit about the trapping or sometimes what you're really looking for?
With the trapping, it kind of helps me where maybe, like, it tells me, I see different species. The floodwater, the Culex, the one that vectors West Nile, that helps me determine as well. I don't do the testing. I don't have any way to test. But when I do set the traps, and if I have like 15, at least 15 like Culex or cells, I'll spray that area. Because to me, that's too high. I don't want to have that number because, again, that's what vectors West Nile. It's dry ice, it's just set up and has dry ice in it, has a little flat, it sucks them into a net, and then I count them, and the threshold is 60, which I'm the lowest in the state. I think everywhere else is like 100 or more.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely, like, even if there's only just the 15 Culex in a trap, I will spray that area just to knock them down. And then it kind of lets me know what water type I need to look for, whether it's gonna be standing water, if it's stagnant water. Flood water is gonna be coming from someone's pasture when they flood irrigation or whatnot. So that kind of helps me, like, look around in that area to see what could be possibly causing the issue.
Is there any other questions from the board? Does the public have any other questions? Great, thank you very much for coming. Moving on to the approval of the minutes and department reports. First up is the May 2nd special meeting minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to approve the special meeting, May 2nd, 2024 minutes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes?
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next is the May 2nd, 2024 minutes.
May 7th.
7th.
What did I say? May 7th? Excuse me. Thank you.
A motion to approve the regular meeting, May 7th, 2024 minutes.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Nope.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next up is the Public Works Director report.
Anyway, I'll just talk about, good evening, Mr. Mayor, trustees. A couple things that didn't make it on my report, just some updates. We do have 2 locations left for the water relocation. Let's talk with the contractor over there. We feel it's probably appropriate to move them down to Church Street. Thanks, Katie. To get, relieve some of the congestion up on Tamarack. We do have Elam Construction started up there yesterday with some of the asphalt removal for the paving project coming up. There's just a lot of contractors in that area, so we're gonna try and, alleviate some of that congestion for the residents up there. We did receive our meter order, so we have 231 residential meters. We'll be changing it out, moving forward. We finally got the parts and pieces. We have both basins coming online. We're online right now for, the wastewater treatment plant, so we'll be able to accommodate the inflows from the irrigation season. And I guess, lastly, we did look at the April water production graphs. You'll see in April on the bottom, there's a huge spike in 2024, which equates to about 3 million gallons. We did have a large customer that had a leak that can account for 1 million of those gallons, and then the other 2 are construction water. So you're seeing with the new subdivisions coming in, Pine River Commons, and Mustang Crossing, with those hydrant meters, those are water trucks and grading. Hopefully, if construction slows down, we'll see that spike come down, but that's what we're equating the additional usage to. And that's all I have. That's not on my report as far as updates. If anybody had any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Can you explain what, when you say the water, the basins for the sewer treatment plant, you say it's coming on, what, can you define that a little bit better for me?
So the nutrient removal and diffuser replacement, we had to take, actually the digester and both treatment basins offline. So we had to drain them all the way down. They get in the bottom with the plumbing. They put these membranes on, and it's a bubbler. We do an air system that mixes them up. So we had 2 membranes that came up short, some gaskets that were missing, and then the contractor broke one of the connection rings. We were waiting for the part, so we were only operating off 1 basin. So with the inflow that we see, if you look at the sewer flow data on that chart that we provide, you can see our flows are starting to pick up. So we were getting, a little excited, wanted to get both basins online, because we do see with the irrigation coming on, those inflows go up. So we want to make sure that we had all of the available capacity at the wastewater plant to be able to accommodate those inflows.
Got it. And then, were you notified of the water leak, and were you guys able to repair that, or was it a customer repair?
It was a customer repair, and you know what? It was a running toilet. So they had a running toilet that ran continuously for 30 days, a month, I don't know, 30, 31 days, however many's in April, and it equated to 1 million gallons. So if you hear your toilet running, make sure and take care of it. At that time, it can add up to a rather large bill. So that's what ended up being determined. It came up on the reread list, and we did contact the customer, and that's who informed us what the leak was. So that toilet was running and going right back down the drain.
Wow.
1 toilet.
Yep. Yeah, crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Very crazy.
Any other questions?
Any other?
Thank you.
Chief O'Gay?
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. April was a busy month again for us. Most of it was training and redoing everything that we learned in April, reference to Spillman and our new body-worn camera systems and the implementation of a lot of the programs we are installing right now. We also had our CIRSA audit we did with Corey. I think we passed. We provided all the data that was needed. Reference to our call volume went up a little bit in 2024 over 2023, and we have seen a trend that we are starting to receive more and more calls, and we're doing more and more work. But a lot of that is also due to that we are actually collecting the data correctly now through Spillman. So all of our data is going to be accurate. Reference to staffing, we have one graduating June 2nd. We have one in the background phase. He's passed everything but one thing. And we hope to, he's in the academy as well, as hopefully to get him hired by June 3rd. So we'll have two in FTO program starting June 3rd. And we do have an SRO interested in the SRO position. And once we get the application process started with that applicant, which should be right around June 1st, we should have everything covered then. That'd be one of the first time in years that our department is fully staffed. Knock on wood.
Good work, Chief.
Thanks.
Good work.
It's been a busy 3 to 4 weeks over there trying to make sure we get everything going.
Good job.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Nope, not for me.
Community Development Director.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. So just a couple quick updates. We had our Dark Sky Party on Friday, May 3rd. It was a great turnout. We estimate approximately 100 people, maybe a little bit less than that, come and go throughout the evening. So very well attended, and I've been asked if we're going to have others. So I think a lot of people enjoyed it. East Mill Street sidewalks, when I wrote this, we were waiting on the guardrails, but they have arrived and are being installed. And so SGM, our town engineer, will be doing a final inspection soon so that we can finalize the grant funding and get the reimbursement for that project. Pine River Commons, they are trying to finalize their connection to water so that they can pull their first set of building permits, which would be 5 attached townhomes. So that's getting close. Tractor Supply, we actually just issued the building permit today. They've been excavating, and they are going to be donating a lot of that dirt, or I don't know what the agreement is, but Pine River Commons wants some of their dirt. So they'll be working with Pine River Commons on that. But we'll probably start seeing some foundation work soon. And then Porky's did receive their certificate of occupancy, so they are open. And Planning Commission approved 2 new vacation rentals at their meeting last week, and I put the addresses there. And then just based on the conversation that we heard at the May 2nd board retreat, I did want to include just the land use. I included land use processes, the application types, fees, and the code section that outlines that process, just so you can see all the different types of land use projects there are, who approves them, and again, the fees. Just as you move forward with any conversations about that process, I wanted you to have the information. And happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions from the board?
Nope, but just a comment. Thanks for hosting the Dark Skies. That was great. That was great.
Brenda too with the library.
Brenda,
we co-hosted
excellent.
and we thought it was very successful.
Yeah,
So thank you.
loved
And the
loved all
library-
the telescopes, and it was awesome.
Yeah, the library was a great location to do it. So.
Yeah, that was a fun event. We enjoyed it too. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Next up is a CML candidate endorsement for Town Manager Katie Sickles.
Yeah, so I'm finishing 6 years as on the CML executive board. I think the things that really need to be cleaned up is our construction defects legislation. Hoping that in the next 2 years, it seems like they started to do something and then they started to go backwards. So certainly something I'd like to see, including broadband for Southwest Colorado. So this actually can be signed by the mayor, but it's really up to the board at this point if you are in agreement to continue that.
Do we need a motion for that?
That's your call.
Or a thumbs up.
I'm good with a thumbs up. Got 5 thumbs up.
Thanks.
Financial agenda, April 2024 financial statement.
Good evening. I did provide a report in the packet concerning the financial statements. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. I don't have anything new to add.
Is there any questions from the board?
No, not at this time.
Sales tax report?
So this does require a motion.
Your finance report
Oh, the financial statement needed
to be approved.
to be approved.
Yes.
I'd like it to make a motion to approve the April 2024 financial report.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Now we'll move on to the sales tax report. When I find it.
Sales tax was included in the packet, and it still is trending upward.
It's fantastic. I
Yeah.
noticed that, so yay.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
And no motion is necessary, so,
Yeah, I'm trying to get down there,
okay.
catching up.
No problem.
Next up is the Pine River Senior Citizens request to waive the $200 fee for the rental on November 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, so the applicant is here, and I'll let her explain their request.
Ian Rudolph, 440 County Road 503, Bayfield. As president of the Pine River Senior Center Board, I'm here to represent the senior citizens. And as stated in the agenda, we'd like to have an exemption to paying the rental fee to rent the Pine River Senior Center. The Pine River Senior Center Board is a nonprofit, and our nonprofit status is up to date. We currently filled out the forms Katie gave us, thank you, and everything is up to date on that. We currently use the building one Saturday a year during November for our annual holiday craft bazaar. We may also request an occasional day for some other function. We believe we're an asset to the town of Bayfield and therefore would appreciate you granting our request. Thank you. Questions?
Any questions from the board?
So I have a request for the basically November 1st and November 2nd is the request for the waiver of fees. And it's $200 is the actual amount, and I'm certainly supporting that amount be waived, and we do have it in the budget.
Katie, I'm just curious, is there standards for who we waive and who we don't waive? Is it just,
They're a nonprofit, so
Yeah.
it's already in the resolution.
yeah?
And I believe you're going to see that here a little bit later on
Sure.
in some updates to that resolution
Okay.
as well.
I was just curious if
Yeah.
there was some administrative.
There's a application that provides a nonprofit reduction, and there's also a resolution. Before your budget is adopted, you have the ability to give grants or provide waivers of fees for certain things, and this is certainly eligible.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So we'll need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that, that we honor the citizens' request, senior citizens' request to waive the $200 fee for the use of the senior center on November 1st and 2nd.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Any discussion?
Nope.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay.
I did mention that the Rowdy Bunch was here tonight, so.
Next up is the Bayfield Chamber of Commerce grant application request.
So the applicant is here tonight. They're requesting $1,500 for a grant, in this case, a grant. Currently, right now, we have $3,000 total, two $1,000 grants, and four $500 grants. We have given those combinations to other organizations prior to this. And in some cases, they would ask for a waiver, but in this case, I'm sure there's expenditures like bands that we don't purchase or we don't have any resources towards. So.
That's correct. Yeah. So I'm here, Brenda Marshall, and I'm here with my Chamber of Commerce hat on, and I'm sure that the town recognises the block parties have been a joint event with the town historically since they started, and they're great events. I'm sure you'll agree they're free and fun. We share information about various resources in our community, plus allow business owners to show off their wares, and even people like the Mosquito Lady to share information to the community. Plus they're fun and free and open to all ages. The hard costs that the Chamber are coming up with are renting porta potties and getting a stage for the bands and renting the bands. So just those three items we estimate coming in at just under $5,000. So there's other expenses and resources that we need, but we would really love it if you guys would consider giving us a grant of $1,500 towards those hard costs. Do you have any questions for us?
No, I just appreciate the Chamber's involvement. It's exciting to see more of that engine in process, so.
Great, thank you.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Mayor, I motion to grant the $1,500 to Bayfield Chamber of Commerce.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
You.
Next up is the KLJ Construction Management questions proposal.
Yeah, so I did receive a proposal from KLJ. They talked to me on the phone a couple weeks ago about submitting a proposal to answer questions regarding the construction of the shared use path. We call it the SUP, that's in the Bayfield Center area. And the proposal does not include an amount. On the phone call before he sent this to me, he said it's going to be $10,000. And then on an email early on Monday, he said it's going to be $18,000. So the Bechtel, when I talked to them, and I did include their email basically in the council's information, they believe they can do it for less than $1,000 time and materials. And I don't see Dean, the engineer for KLJ, on Zoom, and I don't see him in the room, so not here to answer questions, but I'm recommending to motion to decline KLJ's proposal, void of an amount. And keep in mind, we're still waiting for the original contract to be finished at this point as well, so.
Katie, you said 1,000. It's under 10,000, right, for Bechtel?
Bechtel said about 1,000.
About 1,000,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah, and his email is actually documented in the packet.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to decline KLJ's proposal, void of an amount.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Could I just verify that it's void, that it's estimated at 18,000 now that we kind
Sure.
of got I'm sorry, I just got that early Monday morning.
Sure.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to decline KLJ's proposal, void of an amount of
About $18,000.
$18,000.
Yeah.
Need another second.
Second.
I was getting there.
Motion and I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes?
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay.
So I just want to verify that you wanted public input before every decision was made, and I'm not too sure if, I just want to make sure the public has the opportunity to add anything if that's what you're wanting or intending. Just kind of going to be the referee here a little bit.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
this is what you were saying we probably would forget.
I'm guilty.
Take a couple meetings.
Next up is the $3,000 for the RHA.
Yeah, so the RHA, and in the packet, the only thing that's in the packet is that one page out of the budget. And it provides information that they originally were going to have assess all of the local governments. The item to the right, that's page 59 of the packet, or excuse me, 119 of the packet. And in that, we only budgeted the $11,250. The city of Durango only paid the $72,000. Ignacio only paid the $4,500. The county, on the other hand, it must have been a check issuing error. They went ahead and issued the full $173,850 to the RHA. I'm not suggesting that we send that money. I'm asking if for some reason that we continue not to get a response from La Plata Youth Services. We're simply asking them to acknowledge the judge and chief's request that it's the La Plata Youth Services is sent by the judge and not by our officers. So there is, currently we have 2 months. We're still waiting for them. You may recall we gave $1,950 to the new football youth league. But, you know, I'm just asking if as long as that money is not used for any other purposes, if we could use that money as it becomes available.
Is there any concern that, because I know the youth services is a very important
It is. Mm-hmm.
piece. So no rumors, anything that might come around? I'd hate to not have the funds available once we have an opportunity to
I'll tell you what, I'll let the
services.
chief maybe speak to that on
Okay.
the broader law enforcement.
Okay.
Reference to what is occurring between La Plata County Youth Services and the town of Bayfield, the police department, and the circuit court, or municipal court, is that we have now placed it in their hands. We advised them that they needed to provide us a letter of understanding, a reference to the goals that I wanted to see, as well as the judge, because the judge and I both see things the exact same way. And we're just waiting for that letter, and they've been notified of that letter since prior to April 15th. And we have not, I've sent an additional request for them to acknowledge, and I have not heard anything back from them.
Is there an alternative organization?
Organization, no, I think what the judge is doing is community service, and he is also working with Mr. Goldman's office, the defense for us, the prosecutor, to work out things that are beneficial for the juveniles. They're not going unnoticed. They are getting disciplinary action, but it's adjudicated through the court system, which is where it needs to be adjudicated through. And this youth services did not wish for us to do it that way. They wanted a different path. And through discussions and negotiations, it's been put on their table to realize that that's the way our judge and I would like to see it go forward.
Any other questions from the board?
I think it's a bit of a tough call because the RHA is also a very important part of our community. So I just needed to say that.
I'm just a little confused. Why would we give it to the RHA?
You don't have to give it to the RHA. That's,
we could just hold
you can
on
just
to
keep
it?
it in your reserves. I mean, that's your call.
And then if
And if they
either
do ask, we'll come back.
one or the other one, either one,
I'm sorry.
one or the other organization, RHA or L, or the youth
La,
services.
La, so La Plata Youth Services, we pay them basically on a quarterly basis or monthly. And currently, right now, we've had no services from basically, I think this was November through today. We still don't have a response from them.
What is the issue or challenge of us waiting, just holding on to that money a little bit later in the year, and then making a decision later in the year?
That's perfectly fine. Like I said, the RHA has not asked for that money.
Okay, okay.
I'm okay with holding on to it myself, but I don't know how the rest of you feel about that.
I
Do you
do
need
too.
a motion of sorts?
Looks like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You can table it until if you decide how you would like it to come back, you can table it until they ask. You're not saying yes or no, you're just tabling it. Don't give a date because you probably, then we have to keep putting it back on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah. So would we make a motion
Yes,
first before the
to
public?
table.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Mayor, I motion to table the leftover funds from PYS to RHA if requested, and if there is any additional request by either the LPYS or the RHA, the request can come back to the Board of Trustees.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
So this just means we're holding on to it till a later date.
Yes. Is there any public input? I'm getting better. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next up is the Intrafy update regarding the current bank vendor award.
Yes. So Resolution 600 is page 120 in your packet. The board at the time that this was adopted, we had decided that we could get a better interest rate through community banks. I know that Kathy maybe not be prepared to address this, but we continue to get challenges through community banks. So our payroll on a monthly basis is about $50,000 to $60,000. And yet, when we asked them if we could do payroll, their comment was, well, there'll be a lower amount, only $25,000, so we can't even do payroll. They want $500,000 to be deposited into that account, and then they won't make a decision on payroll to be able to make payroll. So we're gonna have to have money in TBK Bank to make payroll until they make this decision. And I just have never, talk about red tape. It's been challenging. I believe we finally got the signers signed up, but now it's kind of come to a time. Is this the direction you would like to continue to go? Or do we go back to TBK Bank and just enter an agreement? Of course, this would come back to you because it's a bunch of papers for you to consider just staying with TBK Bank and do their Intrafy, even though it's a little lower interest rate.
Did we shop other banks besides community banks of
So
Colorado?
the goal was to stay with Bayfield
Yes.
banks. So we
Yeah.
only have two.
I got it. Okay.
We did get some offers from some of the other banks in Durango and Ignacio, but the goal was to stay in Bayfield. The reason is because yes, we can now scan checks and we can get the check scanned and they'll be deposited like you do with your phone today. But if we have cash, we have to go to Ignacio or Durango to deposit cash or to get cash out. So now we have to, you know, it may not be every day, but it could be at least once a week to send somebody out of town.
And the only deciding factor to move from TBK to community was the lower interest rate?
Was the higher interest rate to
Or
community banks.
the higher,
Yeah.
right, the lower interest rate at TBK.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. How much of a difference is there?
I think it was a 1 or 2%.
It's like 2%.
Yeah.
But in order to make their, you know, what they're requesting, they want
Right.
us to deposit $500,000. In order to do that, we don't carry that type of a balance every day. Because those funds are sitting in Call Trust, and honestly, they're making more money in Call Trust than they would if I transferred it back to the bank and put it in community banks.
So based on that statement, Kathy, it sounds like it is beneficial for the town to stay with TBK.
I believe at this time, yes.
Okay.
So your motion could include either continue on with community banks as you have outlined in Resolution 600. The other option would be basically to consider a resolution at your next meeting to go back to TBK Bank with an interfi, and we'll gather the papers again. We've actually been working on this since almost a year. At the last spring meeting that the town of Bayfield had, TBK Bank was still trying to sell us. So we're now almost a year into that.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to continue with TBK Bank.
Well, to draft a new resolution.
Thank you. Okay.
And that directs interfi to TBK Bank.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to draft a resolution to actually go from the Community Banks of Colorado selection to TBK.
For an interfi.
Oh, thank you, for an interfi.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Is there any public input?
I heard that you're trying to stay in Bayfield. We bank with Bank of Colorado, and they have the live ATM over at the grocery store, and I deposit cash in there on a consistent basis, and so does my husband for his business, so just wanted to add that piece as an option.
Could you state your name, please?
Allison Rhodes, sorry.
It's okay. We just need it for the record. Thank you.
Thanks.
No, I forgot what I did. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katsas,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, given the board's decision to enact a new resolution, I might suggest, so that there is no confusion down the road, that there be some discussion and perhaps a motion to repeal Resolution 600.
Will that not come when we bring the next resolution
In fact, you
up?
can do that so that there is no void in the meantime. So
That's what
that sounds totally appropriate.
Okay. So if we could put it on the agenda that way when it
Yeah.
comes up.
So there's another resolution for actual bank signers in addition to this. So both of those need to come back, but that would be for your consideration either anyway, because you don't want signers to bank we don't have banking relationship with.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that we've gotten to this point, but
Yeah, I mean, what you're asking for is a response. Moving on to the action agenda. Planning Commission appointments. Charlene Thomas and Jim Tenza.
Yes, so the planning commission, did recommend, well, let me take a step back. So we did publish for the two new planning commissioners because, trustee Nyberg and trustee Snooks, have, vacated two positions on the planning commission, for two different terms. One of them, trustee Nyberg's term, expires in 2026, but trustee Cash's term expired in October of 2024. And so we need to make sure we stick with those terms, knowing that one of the positions could be reappointed again in October of 2024. And so we have received two applications, Charlene Thomas and Jim Tenza. Jim did volunteer to take the shorter term, knowing that he would have to reapply in October of 2024. And then Charlene would be taking the longer term. So really we just need a final decision from the Board of Trustees if you are going to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation for their two new planning commissioners.
Any questions from the board? Is there any public comment? I see none.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointments of Charlene Thomas for the 2022 through 2026 term and Jim Tenza for the 2020 through 2024 term.
A second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
trustee Katzos,
Yes.
trustee Snooks,
Yes.
trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next is the out-of-town sewer tap at 774 Bayfield Parkway.
Yes, this is a request from David Griggs. He owns the property at 774 Bayfield Parkway. It is in the county, but it is eligible to tie in to town sewer, because we do have sewer along Bayfield Parkway right in front of his property. So he has requested to tie into town sewer. Jeremy has met with him to make sure that it's possible for him to do that tie-in simply with gravity flow, which is what we prefer to see with sewer. He has paid his plant investment fee, which out of town is $10,700. He has also submitted the application for the pre-annexation. And what that is when we provide water or sewer to an out-of-town resident, we require a pre-annexation agreement. And that means that if the town ever does start annexing that direction, they do need to annex into the town at the time that they're eligible and the town is asking them to annex. Or they come in when they're eligible if they want to annex. But right now he's not eligible. So it would just be the agreement that in the future he may be eligible to annex into the town. And so town staff's reviewed his application and we have no concerns. This is a pretty simple one for us. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Simply because I don't know, are there pros and cons for in-town and out-of-town taps that are not annexed in? Is there anything beyond the simplicity of what I'm seeing that affects us?
I might let Jeremy answer that. 'Cause
Okay.
He oversees it more than I do.
Cost. So out-of-town sewer is 1.5 times in town. So if you were to annex into town, then that out-of-town rate would drop and you'd get in-town services.
Okay.
And the plant investment fee would have been cheaper too. Out
That's
is-
correct.
Is higher
Yeah.
than in town.
So that's really the main advantage
Okay,
of in-town.
okay.
Are they, go ahead.
And you looked at it and everything would be fine to go through with that?
Yeah. Yep. And this is a pretty easy one. He wouldn't even be crossing the parkway. So the sewer is actually on his side where his property boundary is. Relatively simple to connect. And yeah, all out-of-town water and sewer service is required to be brought to the board for approval. So that's why you're seeing these individual ones. The in-town services aren't required to be brought to council. So
Are they already hooked up to the water?
No, he's on a well right now.
Yeah, he said his well's fine, so he's not required to take both. Right now, he just wants sewer.
Is there any other questions from the board? Is there any public input? Seeing none?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize, I make a motion to authorize you to sign the pre-annexation agreement and conditionally approve sewer tap service upon the property owner's execution of the pre-annexation agreement for 774 Bayfield Parkway and recordation of such agreement.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes?
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Resolution 616.
Yeah, so Resolution 616 is a revision of a previous park rental fee resolution that we had back in July. As the schools were getting out and they wanted to rent Eagle Park, I'm like, Dustin and I are like, it was never our intent to charge the schools for Eagle Park. I mean, we want the schools to use those parks, especially during the day when they're available. And there's a lot of times we use the school facilities as well for other things. So it was kind of an oversight in July. I suppose we weren't thinking about that. So basically to waive those fees, also added waive fees in advance of a rental. So just like the Pine River senior citizens came and asked for a waiver of rentals, that certainly wanted to put that in that resolution. And Carrie made a couple time changes that just needed to be updated in the resolution, even though it's on the application with those current times. So anyway, those are the changes to it. And then basically Joe Stevenson Park, we want to make sure that other uses that are first come, first serve, or there's no fee, no deposit. We want to make sure that people use that park. However, if they want to reserve the park for their event and it's over 50 people, then what fees would be involved? So we got restrooms and trash and cleaning up a field and things like that. We're not talking about 4th of July. 4th of July is still the town event, so that's not something that we would ever consider charging even the Pine River Centennial Rotary. So those are the changes that we made. And the school-aged student would be the Bayfield zip code. So any school that's active in a Bayfield zip code versus just every school that's in the area.
In that resolution, it was no fee retroactive. So is that stating that we haven't collected fees?
For the schools.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that just needed to be stated.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Is there any public comment?
Allison Rhodes. Is that just for the public schools, or would that be for homeschool co-ops as well?
If it's a homeschool co-op in that zip code, there's no charge.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment?
Mr. Mayor, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Resolution 616.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes?
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next is the ordinance 500 adopting the 2024 model traffic code.
I'm going to let the town attorney and chief of police provide that report.
So within the last month, and Michael Goldman, your town attorney, speaking into the quarter here. Within the last month, the Colorado Department of Transportation made some additional amendments to the model traffic code, which this board adopted just last year, the 2020 version of the model traffic code. But there are a number of changes having to do with bicycles, electric scooters, all kinds of things that might be applicable here in the town of Bayfield eventually. And so it'd be my suggestion that although you adopted the 2020 traffic code just last year, that we now have the opportunity to adopt the 2024 code and have the most up-to-date code available to Chief Hoguet and his staff.
With these enhancements, it allows our officers to actually go out and provide better traffic enforcement safety and pedestrian safety, which is what we have been trying to focus on a lot more lately. And with these new laws and allowing us to enforce them, it'll provide us with greater latitude in making sure our town is as safe as we can make it. And so that's the goal that we've been trying to push for since last May.
Just so that you also understand, there is no fiscal impact to the town of Bayfield by adopting this 2024 code.
So just curious, does this include crossing the 160? Your
Well,
enforcement?
It does include certain regulations concerning pedestrian crossing
Got it.
and right-of-way to pedestrians.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Is there any public input?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 616.
It's an ordinance. It's ordinance 500.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
It's all right.
Sorry about that. Ordinance 500.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Snooks,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yay. Next up, under the discussion and applicable staff direction agenda, consideration of language regarding declarations, resolutions, or proclamations.
So I believe this came up during the request for a proclamation to the mayor. You know, in a lot of the communities I worked in, the mayor had that authority as long as it didn't cost anything and it wasn't political, and there, you know, a couple other things that you just want to avoid any conflict with. But a town attorney Goldman provided this to me, and if you would like something more formal, you know, I can certainly take that. It's certainly up to the board how they would like to approach that.
Is this just for town documents, or does this also go into like the comp plan or anything else? Is it just for our benefit?
I think that would be in the spirit of what it is you do, and be basically adopted as a policy. And so what I did is I basically cobbled this from another community here in Colorado for your benefit, and if there are changes you wanted to make to better appeal to your structure,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? Is there any public comment? Are we looking for a motion on this? Or
Probably
Chair Wilkie?
direction, yeah, I mean, this is up to you. You know, if you feel that the way you're doing it is fine, if not, you know, is there something in here you see that you would like to change? Would you like to, you know, think about this a little bit longer? What in here works, what in here doesn't work?
So there's more flexibility if it's not a resolution to
Well, it's
consider
more
case by case?
flexibility, and there's, you know, and if, you know, well, the only problem is that if when the issue comes up, you can't, you know, you may not be able to table it until the next time. I mean, we have things like, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we've tried to honor the Southern Utes, and there's other things that we've done, and the proclamation. I asked the mayor, is that something you want to do? Or I'm asked, or they asked the mayor. And if that's something that she made a decision on, that was fine. There's a couple times where we've tried to honor, and the organization was not in favor of that. So the mayor at one time decided to do Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, those are things that are open, but, that it just creates a couple more levels of following a diligent policy, if that's what you would like.
So the resolution would give better guidance to the town and anybody who was interested in asking for support in somehow or some way.
I don't really see a problem with the previous proclamations,
Yeah.
but if you would like something more firm and have it come back to the council, I'm certainly fine with that.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? Is there any public comment?
I don't think I really have enough examples of what were specific examples, like say the breast awareness thing. If we stick with this declaration and resolutions, that would mean that the mayor would make that proclamation on their own without any kind, just, they would create the proclamation and that would be the end
I
of
think
it.
what typically happens is there's an organization that generally comes and either to the town manager or directly to the mayor and just says, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can you adopt the following proclamation, which we've already drafted? And the mayor can make that decision on an ad hoc basis. Because it's really, it's up to the mayor. That's why the mayor has the important job and gets the big bucks. However, what has happened in other communities is other communities have said, and the mayors have actually requested, let's kind of have a policy so that we can, when people or agencies come to us, I can have certain guardrails and point out that my board has directed me or the town manager to kind of suggest which things we will give attention to. As you're probably well aware, there has been a town board that has been asked to address certain international events, and some of those boards felt it's appropriate for them to address those events. But this is an opportunity to kind of have a discussion amongst yourselves as to whether or not you want to keep that open on an ad hoc basis, or perhaps further restrict or limit the ability of your board or mayor to address certain issues. So
Okay,
again,
thank
up
you.
to you and.
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that we have a third option, either formalize the via resolution or continue mayor's consideration as a case by case, or direct the staff that this is just policy. Is that correct or incorrect?
Well, I think that's really the intent, is that it gives you an opportunity to adopt something as policy.
Okay,
It doesn't necessarily have to be via a resolution.
great, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to direct the town to make this policy.
So the way it's written? So
Yes.
I haven't.
Do I need to read this the way it is?
Well, I'll be very honest with you.
Yeah.
All I did is just took the attorney's information
Got it,
and,
okay.
and passed it on. I wasn't
Okay.
going to edit it whatsoever. So in my opinion, I believe it should be Bayfield specific and not another community. So
Okay.
if that's what you'd like to do, that's certainly fine.
Okay. Well, it's up to you, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to see it continue on a case-by-case basis. Just,
But even, so if we adopt something similar to what's on here, then it would be on a case-by-case basis and basically a board decision, whereas now it's just the mayor's decision. And really, the board has no say.
that's true too.
Yeah.
So it could be.
So that involves making a decision before, so in most cases, a decision was made for a proclamation for breast cancer awareness, the last September meeting. So now you'd have to have a meeting to give the staff approval to do a proclamation, and then another meeting to actually have the proclamation. And I'm not, it doesn't matter to me how that policy is, but just keep in mind, just adds another layer of.
And that's if we go with formalizing a resolution?
That's correct.
Okay.
Because you can't make a decision. Typically, I would just, make a phone call. So, is this something you are interested in?
So it seems to me that what we're saying is that we want to continue to allow the mayor to have consideration case by case using this as a policy.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, no, I think I got confused with the mayor's
Yeah,
response.
this all arose as a result of your get-together a few weeks ago, and it was raised as there was questions about proclamations and what do we do about this, and why do we do them, and so forth. So I just cobbled together this policy, gave it to Katie. She put it part of the packet. You don't have to make any decisions on this today. And in fact, you can say, great, thank you, Town Attorney Goldman. However, we'd like to just allow the mayor to continue on an ad hoc policy. If he gets solicitations for proclamations, he can just address it with the town manager as it has occurred in the past, and it gets on the agenda, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
So I noticed we have public comment.
Allison Rhodes. Having more red tape is what I'm understanding is kind of the basics of this. I would decline, my personal opinion. Being able to vote in someone that the community has said that they want and trust them to make that decision alone would be my 2 cents as far as where I'd like to go with that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I personally think the less red tape, the better.
You have
agree
to
with
say
that.
something. You can't
Oh,
just nod. Nobody
I
can
agree
hear
with
that.
Well, he doesn't say very much, but when he does, it's like, yes.
Sure. Yeah, that works for me.
I guess we're going to continue on how
Thank you.
in the current policy.
Thank you, Attorney
Appreciate
Goldman.
your-
We appreciate it.
Appreciate your work on
Thanks
this.
for your effort on that.
No, it wasn't an effort on it. I thought it was just a good opportunity to have this discussion, so perfect.
Next is the feasibility study for the proposed stormwater retention pond west of 501 across from Dove Ranch. I think I'm
Yes,
correct.
so Jim Corkin is a property owner that is just west of Dove Ranch. We've been talking to him 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and then we got silent. And the reason we got silent is we were working on a stormwater feasibility study. In this case, we would be looking at the La Plata County Community Development's definition of a feasibility study. And so in your packet, we've provided, Nicole kind of gave you the steps, the bullet points for that on page 141. And then I tried to kind of put the feasibility study, all the things that they would ask for to get that. So the total amount is $1,300. that can be funded within our engineering or programs and streets currently right now. Basically just gets our application in front of the community development for La Plata County. And at least we I understand from their perspective best where we need to go from there. So it's $1,300, and it doesn't commit us to doing anything. It doesn't commit us to purchasing that property. We did get appraisal 3 years ago on that property. There's a lot of actions that we took, and then we've been waiting for the stormwater feasibility. In this case, it's the feasibility study for the community development of the county.
So when you said appraisal, this is property we would buy for this retention pond?
The appraisal was done in 2021 when we wanted to know what it was going to cost to purchase it.
Gotcha. Okay. And I know that the drainage issues with Dove Ranch have been affecting the 501. Is the county at all interested in how we shore that up, or that's just a town issue?
Actually, the drainage is an issue to the Schroeder ditch more than anything.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a water quality act that we really need to get that water from seeping, draining into that Schroeder ditch.
Well, I did know that the 501 was affected when we had all those rains. So I was just curious if the county had any.
The county's road integrity is still their responsibility.
Got it. Okay.
I'd like to see us proceed with the feasibility study. We have to address that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have a choice.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any public comment?
Thank you. I'm Phyllis Ludwig, 9205 County Road 521. And we've had this problem since 2005. And thank goodness, maybe something's going to be done. But also, the road of County Road 501 is sloughing off because of the washing of it. So the county does need to be involved. They were going to go up and fix it. They never showed up. My husband and son met with the county, and they said, yeah, we'll be out and fix it because it's just darn near even with the road, and that's pretty dangerous. And how are they going to cross the Schroeder ditch? Has there been any plans yet on that, or?
We actually had plans drawn up and cost estimates in, I believe, in 2019 or 2020. The cost has probably changed.
I imagine it has. We would like to see it piped over the Schroeder ditch if that's possible, because it has been so long. And we've been through mayors, we've been through town managers, we've been through hell trying to get it finished, but we do appreciate something maybe coming to a head now. So thank you.
Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana Drive. I'm just curious about, I know it's just a feasibility study, but is this in direct relationship to the water drainage issues for Dove Ranch? And if that's the case, is this a retention pond or a detention pond? It says retention pond on the agenda, but we're trying to retain that water, and that's maybe something that could be addressed. But as I've stated way back 3 years ago when this came up, and I'm not sure whether this is a requirement that the town has to address the runoff stormwater from Dove Ranch, but I think that it creates a bit of a dangerous precedent to purchase land, build ponds for one particular subdivision. I know that it wasn't done properly to begin with, but going forward, if we have more subdivisions that, for whatever reason, fall out of compliance, is the town then kind of committed to the cost of improving those conditions? Thanks.
So I'm not an engineer, I'm not going to explain the difference between detention and retention. This is simply a feasibility study to send to La Plata County to get the town of Bayfield's foot in the door to see, how that they would proceed with any type of application. As far as the stormwater ordinance that was passed last year, there is some responsibility for the town to take on any failing stormwater management throughout the town, regardless if it's one subdivision or another.
Any other public comment? Are you looking for a motion to?
So you can, it's $1,300 if you don't think it needs a motion, but if you're all in favor of direction to proceed ahead with the La Plata County's feasibility study and cost, I think that's what I'm looking for.
Katie, I wanted to add something. It could be more than 13 because it's $1,250 plus the county surveyor review fee, which they did not give us an amount. And so the county surveyor will review any plats that we propose. So it could be a little more than 13, but I don't know because they won't disclose that amount. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
That's usually based on like number of lots in the subdivision or that type of thing. I don't know. I don't really know what he's going to charge neither. I'm not even sure why the county's, well, never mind. Won't go there.
I'm in agreement to proceed with the feasibility study.
Do we need to second that, or?
I just want to make sure there's no opposition.
I'm in agreement.
Me too.
I'm in agreement.
I'm in agreement. Sorry. I said that before. I think I said yeah to start out. A while ago, didn't I?
Alexis, are you?
I was reading the next
to make
thing.
sure you were.
Yeah, we're good. Let's go.
I know you got home late last night, but we're just checking. Moving on to the YMCA in Bayfield.
Yeah, so I did review the documents that Mary Benson provided. I believe I saw her here, so she is here. And as we're putting together the park committee, actually looking at recreation, parks and recreation committee, I certainly think this could be part of it, that information. This is probably part of that whole community input and involvement, and that's certainly your call. I have all the pages she sent. I could not seem to find the document that she had as a link to actually download, but maybe perhaps as this project moves along, to stay in touch with Mary and see if there isn't, that she could provide that digitally.
Mary, are you able to answer some questions?
Mary Benson, 723 Lupine. I have the documentation, the packet. I reached out to the Y themselves, the corporate office. So they gave me 2 POCs, 2 points of contact. They're saying the first page that you all have in your packet is letting you know that we need to collaborate. So this is beyond Parks and Recs. It's beyond, to me, childcare. It's they're all about youth development, healthy living, social responsibility. They are about collaboration. So they've given 5 steps to be able to start looking at this and researching it and seeing about feasibility. One of those is to reach out to those 2 POCs that they've given us.
To me, if we don't start doing something, then it's just time's going to pass and nothing's going to happen, right? So part of the steps are getting community support. Part of the steps are city and county government. Part of the steps are schools and hospitals and public health and corporations and nonprofits. Different collaborations that we can make this happen. So I don't know if it's part of the Parks and Rec. I think that it could be its own. But I don't think that I have a link. I can send you the electronic copy of what they provided to me. I printed it and brought it in last time. But there's many ways to be able to, work with these people to see if it's a possibility. I think we get to help decide what we want as far as services go for this community, so we can help tailor it. I think finding out from the current POCs that they've given us what this initial step look like, and if they're willing to even start partnering with us would be a good first step.
So I noticed at the document that had been included in our packet, at the bottom it said you needed a branch in close proximity.
Those are the two people that they gave us, is the two branches closest to us.
So that's
to reach out to
Pueblo?
them.
Pueblo and?
I don't really remember the two names. I didn't bring that with me. I printed the rest because I didn't see it in the packet.
Yeah.
But there's other ways. So on the initial inquiry and education, it says there's many ways you can alliance partnership with national committees. You can, there's many ways, I think, to do it. And I think that you didn't get the benefit of seeing all the ways.
Yeah.
But we do have a good place to start from. And I can definitely provide the electronic copies. They also did initial demographics for us so that we could see kind of, the makeup of what they're saying as far as the 5-mile radius. And so I think it would be really beneficial for the community. And I think there's no reason to not start trying and start seeing what it is that it's going to take to do this and see if we can get partnerships from maybe Mercy Hospital. I have no idea. I've never done this before. But I think the art of the possible and starting, it would be a good decision.
I think my concern was when I went on the YMCA website to check it out, the closest ones that I found in Colorado were Colorado Springs and Pueblo. So I tried to find out what
I'm sure that they're going into New Mexico and other locations because we're so close to the New Mexico border. I don't really remember who. And it doesn't matter if they're distant, I don't believe. It's just we're looking at new development. We're looking at bringing in something for the city of Bayfield or the town of Bayfield. I don't think we need to be in proximity of them. We just need to partner with them.
I am just curious about what is the advantage of bringing in just another partner to work. I mean, we've already working on the and I'm new to all of this, but the recreation district, we've got a lot of sort of, it seems like balls up in the air on how to work on like the gym and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if I see an advantage to bringing in another organization that isn't already sort of in this environment.
Well, I think that you're probably going to have to pay for what you're doing for the town currently. I think that your services that I've been exposed to living here are Parks and Rec, so soccer, baseball, pickleball you brought in. There's going to have to be, repairs probably to the gym, but is that where you want to spend the money? The last meeting that I was at, and you guys put out the RFP for the vision and the strategic planning, I think that would help this committee and the mayor greatly, this council, to look at everything and have this consultant come in and help you guys focus in on your top priorities and, and go from there. But, I mean, we aren't committing to anything. We're looking at the feasibility of doing this. For me, the benefit I saw in this was they have day camps that I had my kids in. I mentioned that I learned to swim. We have no place really. I'm a little concerned about the youth here. I'm concerned that I grew up in a smaller town that I got in a lot of trouble because there wasn't a lot to do. And I know that we're trying to make it up on the library and different things like that. But I think if we had some after-school care programs or, like I said, we get to decide what we want this to be. And there's also healthy living things. There's things that we can do and we can shape this to be something that we want it to be if we think that there's a gap or there's a need. So I don't know the full scope of everything that you're working on, but I think that there's so much, and that visioning and strategic planning, I think, is going to be really beneficial. It'll help you to know about your committees. It'll help you zone in on exactly what you want to do, in the first few months, the first years, the first 5 years of your guys' tenure with the town.
Well, the consultant that would be working with us on that, where are they from?
The RFP's out for that, so those have to come in as of May 30th, I think is the end of that. So you'll have to see who you get in to be able to do that. But in my career, I'm a management consultant by trade, and I work for a very large company, and strategic planning is super, super important. And it's a good place to start as a foundation because you can get pulled in so many different directions, and you can get lost on where you're headed and what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. So that's separate from this conversation, but it's just something that I know is going to be helpful just from my career.
Okay, thank you, Mary. So I think to kind of extrapolate on what you said, Laura, I think it would be really beneficial for us to get that Parks and Rec committee, formulated first, and then they can look at this as whether it's a beneficial piece or, they can kind of do the research and see how that's going to balance out with our goals, with our master park plan.
Well, that's what I am saying is that it's like for right now, it doesn't seem like they're as local an organization, so won't be as familiar with our particular place. That's one of my problems with consultants. Nothing personal, but they need to be from this area. I mean, like Boys and Girls Club does a lot of stuff, but we have Boys and Girls Club not here, but in Nacio and Durango, and they are familiar with our community, more community.
Yeah.
So those are just my thoughts.
So I like the direction to forward the YMCA information to the PARC when they're organized and kind of develop their agenda around those priorities. That seems to make good sense to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Let's not. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's get that committee going and then look at what's going to fit in for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any public comment?
Brenda Marshall. Just to add in this general topic, when the library did our big strategic plan just over a year ago, we interviewed over 70 representatives from the community, including several of you, asking about what they felt Bayfield needed or what we were missing. And the thing that came up from young and old, left and right, was a rec centre, a swimming pool, everybody was saying that. Well, of course, it's expensive, and I don't know that everybody that was suggesting that or dreaming about that would necessarily want to pay for it. But, you know, maybe thinking outside of the box with another agency rather than that all falling on the town of Bayfield might be worth being open to. Just my 2 cents. Thanks.
And I do like that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea too. It's been verbalized over and over and over and over again, and with the park plan, and the park plan does not include a rec center. So that's part of the reason we want to have this park PARC committee, so that we can have a small group of citizens that can help us collect all that information, look at the option of YMC, look and see, with other resources in the community, if that makes sense, and if we can get more funding by partnering with somebody, because it is going to be expensive. So really, that park committee, and please make sure you invite everybody in the community to come and be a part of the park committee so that they can really focus their attention on that. We have a lot of different options for attention. So that's why we'd like to just wait until that committee is done and then pass on the information so that you have a more defined group of people to work with.
Is there any other comments, questions? Is that general
Thank you.
discussion give you an idea where we went ahead?
Yeah.
Next up is the ice cream park side chat dates, which I think we've already kind of hit on the one.
So I went ahead and confirmed June 3rd, but I don't have an ice cream vendor yet confirmed. So let me tell you a little bit about the 2 options that I have. Both of these have served ice cream in the past. The Pink Pig was sold, and they just need to get their seasonal business license. But they are very excited about doing this. They would offer $3 a treat. It's not going to be the most expensive treat, but and the town would pay for the ice cream. I'm just guessing Gosney Park is not a real big park, but if you get a lot of people stopping by to get ice cream, I said, well, maybe 30, maybe 50, and the guess is really to just make sure that you're stocked with ice cream. The second option I had is a business that has done ice cream. They have a relocation fee of $75 and then $4 per treat. So I prefer to go with the new business that used to be the Pink Pig. I believe she's changed her name. And this would require at least 3 trustees to be at each event. So it's the Monday before your first meeting of the month. In June 3rd would be Gosney Park. July 1st would be the Library Park. August 5th would be Mesa Park. If I could just get 3, I don't need all of you. It will be posted so that it is a public meeting. It can be for a half an hour. You can get ice cream, have a chat, and be on your way. But it's the cost and commitment is really what I'm looking for.
So you have to confirm roughly how many people you think you're going to be buying for, like you.
Well, if we run out of ice cream, it's But I mean, the
have a
lady
freezer,
that has
right?
relocation, she's got a bigger van.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So it's not that she gives out the ice cream and then we pay for whatever the cost is.
She gives out. We did this at the zip code day night. We had lemonade and ice cream and popcorn. I forget what else we all had, but everything that went out of their booth, we paid for.
Okay. Well, I think it's a great idea. So you've got my commitment for the June 3rd for sure. I can't. That's right on my husband's birthday, and I don't know what we've got going on. So I may have to skip the July 1st, but June 3rd, I'll be there.
Okay.
I can be at all 3.
Cool.
I'm in.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I can make June 3rd and August 5th. I'll have to check on July 1st.
I can do July 1st.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And $3 a treat is okay as long as we don't, if we sell out, we sell out. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm happy to support local
Make sure
too.
we have enough.
Well, I know, that, you know, it's just like the dumpsters for the cleanup day.
Dustin knows about that.
You know what? 5 dumpsters did it for years, and
As long as I'm first
Oh,
in line,
good.
I'm okay.
so anyway, thank you very much.
Board of Trustee reports. I was at the Planning Commission last week. We approved the 2 new planning commissioners, which we did tonight, and 2
Short-term rentals.
short-term rentals. And that was about the extent of that meeting. And I missed the leadership meeting because I overscheduled myself because I'm not used to what I'm doing yet, but we'll get there, and I plan on being there tomorrow morning. Next up is Trustee Hart's. I don't know if you went to any.
Tree board is next week, but the Alliance meeting was last week. I don't know how, I'm going to just give us the highlights that refer to Bayfield or something that might have something to do with us. Durango is doing a couple of things here. I said it really doesn't apply to us, but they are doing a rural jumpstart program, $30,000 in grants to businesses in their region outside in town. They're doing some land use changes, and the residences in Durango will open at the end of the year. That's their affordable housing at the old hotel on the west side of town. The city of Durango has just created a new economic development incentive program. It's $1 million to qualify. You have to have a business that's $1 million or more to qualify, but it is designed to keep the business in the area. A lot of businesses they're finding are growing, and then they need more infrastructure, services, community than what we have here. So they leave and they go to Farmington or Albuquerque, and this is a way of bringing that money, keeping that money and the businesses in the area. We had a update from American Heritage Railways, the owner of the Silverton Rail. They are pushing more off-season growth, so just something for us to know. And Senator Hickenlooper update. For Bayfield, we got $1.5 million for the intersection. They gave $1 million to Southwest Educational Collaboration, which is to create a training facility for manufactured homes and to teach new skills to high school students. Kind of a cool thing. I want to see what else is going on there. We had a presentation from CALE, Council for Adult and Experiential Learning. They are working with the Alliance, the Economic Alliance in Fort Lewis College on they have received an Opportunity Now grant for $1.2 million, and they're working with non-traditional populations. This has typically been 25 years or older, but with our changing demographics, job markets, employee skills requirements, all that. They're using this money to create accelerated courses and weekend certifications. As far as the Alliance, we had a board meeting too. They had a succession plan for the executive director, so Michael French is no longer the executive director. It's Sarah Tober as of July 1st. And they talked about the Catalyst Revolving Loan Fund, which is approximately $1 million that just came from the developers of Bodo Park and went into the Regional Housing Alliance. It's going to be used to fund housing development at a very low interest rate. And we had a Powerhouse Museum update. That's all I'm going to tell you about that because it's not my thing. And I attended the science fair for the 6th graders and the 8th graders. Wow. Haven't been around a 6th grader in a long time, or an 8th grader, but very interesting, and they had some interesting projects. It was fun, but I was just another person passing through. And that's all I have. Oh, I did have, we have just I just had a question about this, what you just mentioned about the dumpsters. That doesn't happen every other year, does it? It just was a fluke this year, because it seemed like there was a lot of traffic coming in there that morning.
Yeah, so Manager Sickles said, it was very well advertised, so that's a success. We've been talking about getting a hold of the public, and we did.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah, the fall cleanups aren't attended quite as heavily as the spring ones. Last year, the spring cleanup was attended quite a bit more, but it didn't fill up till about 2. So when we opened the gates at 8 o'clock, we already had a line of cars all the way down the Parkway, past Clover, past Builders Rentals. So I mean, they were lined up. We were doing the math for the amount of roll-offs we had. That is over 100 pickup loads full of debris that we collected within an hour. So it's a ton. Luckily, Corey was in line, so he was able to assist. We got mobbed. But really, what we were discussing internally is, do we try and maybe schedule more dumpsters for spring cleanup versus fall? The fall cleanup last year, the guys closed at 4 o'clock, and we still had two dumpsters that weren't full.
Oh, interesting.
So it's hit or miss, but it is something that we're discussing internally, and maybe we do need to try and make more space available for the spring cleanup. It seems like once the snow thaws, people are finding rusty stuff they want to put in the trash can. So I don't know. We're open to suggestions as well. If any of you guys have any other ideas.
On top of the dumpsters, you also put up 2 dump trucks.
Oh yeah, we didn't throw any metal in the dumpsters either. That all went into the dump trucks and was recycled at Reclam Metals the following day too. So, yeah, it was just a huge turnout.
How fast did they fill up this year?
1 hour. We opened at 8. They were full by 9, and that's with us packing them in with the backhoe and smashing stuff down. So, yeah, we're looking to see how we can improve next year.
Wow.
Have you considered a second day? Because if it was a fluke, and next year you get 10 dumpsters, and you're stuck with it. I don't know if a second day would be.
Well, one of the things, if you advertise the 2 days and then we fill up, so if we do get more dumpsters, we fill up on day 1, then we're technically bound to take the rest of the debris. So you end up piling it in the yard.
I mean, like 2 weeks difference.
Or do like 2 weekends or something, maybe?
Yeah, like 2 weekends.
So just FYI that there's a certain cost associated.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We get one free.
Yeah, we get a couple free, but we don't get,
Right.
So you do one, we're going to come back to you and say, is this what you want to pay for spring cleanup? So those are decisions you'll get to make too.
Yeah, and it was disappointing. I mean, to be open and shut that quickly, not everybody's an early bird, so we recognize that. But yeah, best one yet, I guess.
Yeah, that's great.
Trustee Catsko?
Let's see. Region 9, I was due to attend that in April, but I had to go out to California and care for my 86-year-old mom, so I was unable to attend that April meeting. However, I did attend the RHA Summit, also the RHA board meeting. I attended via Zoom the first CLM spring meeting that I could participate with, and then also the CLM regional meeting and Bayfield's Community Ag Zone meeting, which was pretty cool. The Ag Zone meeting was just to get community engagement, just to begin a conversation about whether we want to create an ag zone or not. So it was really nice to hear from all those people and start the conversation. So I have a little bit of information about the other meetings I attended. I know that that's not necessarily my my responsibility. But the workforce development with CLM is of interest, as there are several initiatives taking place. And to Alexis's comment about the Rural Jumpstart Program, that's a really unique opportunity for new businesses. And there's grants to start up the business, including taxes for business, property and income taxes for employees to be waived for the first 2 years. So that's really an incentive to bring in a new business into our area. The RHA Summit, Nicole was also there, so she can probably fully inform anybody who wants to know more, but it may be worth considering the programs that may benefit Bayfield at this time. Let's see, what else we got here? They talked a lot about the funding that's available. But we've done a really good job taking advantage of the funding for RHA, and I'm sure if there's more, we'll do what we can. Let's see. It was interesting last night at the CLM regional meeting. We heard from other mayors and town managers, and some of the things that stood out for me was there's a company called Flywater Inc., and Pagosa's having Flywater come in and do 21 miles of their river for preservation. So should we get to that point, that might be a great resource for us. Mancos is also doing a master park plan. They got a huge, overwhelming support from their community regarding that. Cortez got a grant to remove the turf, and they're considering tiered water rates. Also, Pagosa mentioned their really dire need for childhood care programs. So I don't know where we fit in that, but they have over 60 families in need, and it's at least $170K for a grant that they're looking for to try to address those families in need. I'm sure we have a need that's equal to that. What else can I add for you? Oh, also, Dolores is seeking a grant to develop their town square and turn it into an entertainment district. So that was intriguing to me. Their biggest hurdle is trying to add restrooms at 350K to put in a restroom. So I understand that that's a big challenge. So that's what I have for now.
Trustee McLaurin?
Well, we are working on, for the Mill Street middle part, we have a meeting coming up. We're taking some public input for that. We haven't had a meeting per se about it, but it's on the radar. We're going to be working on that. I was also extremely interested in the agricultural zoning meeting that we had last week, which I think is really great and really important. That's why I signed up, because I want to continue to participate that. I'm just listening to Kat over here, and I'm wondering if some of that, the rural business initiatives, would apply to some businesses that might be, the agricultural businesses that would like to be annexed into the town. Because I would think, I'd love to see a butcher shop, for example. Okay, but there may be some more funding and some other resources for some of those things for these rural businesses. That's about all I've got.
Trustee Snooks?
Same thing. We're both on the same
Yeah, we're together.
committee there. Happy to see that it's in the newsletter. And yeah, we've got a breakfast and ice cream coming up soon for it.
So we are still looking for people for the Budget Committee and the Parks and Rec Committee, if anyone's interested. Is that sign up just on the web page, or is it?
It's on the
you
web
can come to
page.
town hall?
It's the QR code is on this newsletter. It's probably too small. Depends on what your camera quality is. But it's on the website. It's actually in the packet, the very last page, so a little bigger printout. If somebody would use a QR code, or the website is on Facebook as well, and all the other social media sites. So the social media sites that the town of Bayfield does is Instagram, Facebook, and Nextdoor. That's going to be the limit until you get a PR person.
That's a lot.
So there's several dates of interest coming up. They're listed on the agenda. In case anyone's interested in
So
that.
I just want to say that you have some reading material, and here is your master drainage plan update.
Oh, look.
Well, you got something to do on the plane now.
Thank you. Thank you, I think.
Said you were flying out.
Oh, look.
In the morning in my truck.
I
I won't be reading any of this while I'm driving.
Is there anything
Get ready,
else?
Jeremy.
I don't have anything else. It seems like we got a lot of some of these committee meetings coming up and activities, so we'll be busy.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to adjourn the meeting, tonight's meeting at 8:28. And see you in a couple weeks.
Couple weeks. We're next week again.
No, we're not.
No, that is